And we are back, and going into Father's Day weekend, we are looking at Old Dads from 2023, currently streaming on Netflix. This is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. This is directed by Bill Burr with writing credits to Bill Burr and Ben Tishler. This is the story of a Gen Xer with a younger wife, a small son, and I think the wife is pregnant with their second child. Jack Kelly, played by Bill Burr, when we open up the story, is in a good place. He's got this company that he runs with his two oldest friends, and he's got this beautiful wife, this lovely young son, and is going to be a dad for a second time. However, in the midst of all of this, he is surrounded by a very changing world, and he just doesn't know how to navigate it. I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. G, what did you think of the film?
It was all right.
It was just all right, right?
Yeah.
It was funny. There was some naughty bits, but it kind of felt like repetitious, right? This Gen Xer who just couldn't understand why younger people had different sensibilities. Did that bother you in any way to see that play itself out?
I didn't really care. I didn't like how stubborn he was about not seeking help, even though his wife was asking him all the time. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the film, when he's voicing over, I've always wanted to be a dad. And then she's introduced him she's really young.
She looks way younger than him.
I was I'm surprised these two are married. And then they got further into the film, and I was like, oh.
And he does say at one point that he's 51. So I'm assuming his wife is in her 30s.
Probably.
Yeah. And she looks like she's in her 30s, right? Yeah,
she looks much younger.
Way younger than he is, yeah. Olive G, what did you think of the film?
I thought it was okay.
It was just okay?
Yeah. Nothing really special about it. Nothing
special. Did you think the naughty humor was funny?
I can't remember most of the humor.
Really? There's a scene where they go to not Vegas. Where do they go? Palm Beach?
Palm Desert.
Palm Desert.
I thought they did go to Vegas.
No, they wound up going to Palm Desert, which is bargain basement Vegas. Oh. Yeah. What did you think of the humor in the strip club?
That was probably my least favorite scene.
Really? Why?
Because his friend Mike is all scared to marry his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And it made me really upset because in movies or even in real life, there's always before getting married, people will be oh, it's your last night of freedom, as if they haven't already been in a committed relationship with the person they're getting married to for long enough to be getting married.
Right.
That's so weird to me. And then they'll go to have a party or something, go to a strip club. And that's weird. I wouldn't want my partner doing that.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I, too, felt like that was my least favorite part of the story.
Yeah. I especially didn't like how the friend who was afraid of being committed to his girlfriend was talking to them about, being emotional. But then when they go and he's, all drunk, he's I'm not going back. I don't want to go back. This is me now. You're an adult man.
Right. Act like one. Here. Yeah. And it's funny because he had a wife. Previously, he was divorced with 2 grown sons, and then he was dating Brittany, who also
was
insanely young.
I think she was younger than Leah.
I think she was younger than Leah as well. Yeah, for sure. She looked like she was in her 20s.
Yeah, she was so young.
Yeah. Then the funniest couple I thought was Connor and Kara, right?
Right.
She was
a monster.
She was, wow. It was like a horror movie when he looks up in the bathroom.
That scene in the bathroom, Olivia screaming when she jump scares.
Well, she was standing there like she was about to murder him.
Yeah,
that literally scared the shit out of me.
Watch your language.
It's okay. It sort of scared the stuffing out of me as well. So that message tracks. So it was kind of funny because these 3 men have grown up together, have gone into business together, and still remain really good friends. But it's kind of an interesting, I guess, fantasy that these men are with younger wives. Yes, girl. What?
I completely forgot what I was about to say.
Sorry. All right. Well, if you remember, stop me. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is, so we've seen in the past Miller's Girl, which was a young girl with an older man. We saw The Idea of You, which was an older woman with a younger man.
But they were both adults.
Here, again, everyone's an adult, but there is a huge age gap between the husbands and the wives. Because I think even Connor and Kara,
I think, were they the closest in age, though?
they might have been the closest in age, but still, she was still
younger.
younger than him. Although, I think out of all the men, obviously Connor was a vapid, but he was sort of my favorite because he was just trying so hard to hold on to his youth by trying to like be cool. And then when the guy talks about like, oh, the stripper, she was like, oh, I could tell your age by your neck. And he gets so insane about his night. Yes.
Like,
he is
like
such...
he was on coke and he was bummed out.
about exactly. He was on coke and that bummed him out. And then the young Aspen, who I thought was Austin, but you're right, it was Aspen.
I know, because
that was just ridiculous as well. So I mean, it's
like that guy.
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story in a lot of ways, because I feel like Bill Burr, Jack, he's a comedian and he is actually very, very funny. I actually like listening to him. It just seemed a little too much kind of to me.
Yeah.
Because this was almost like a 2-hour film. This was like an hour and 44. So this is almost 2 hours. If this had been in the sweet spot of maybe 80 to 90 minutes, this would have been fine. I think that it was like a joke that was extended way too long.
Yeah.
And just after a while, it's like I almost didn't care. Like in the beginning, I could sympathize with Jack, right?
Yeah.
When he has that run-in with the principal,
After
who then
being late.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was so infuriating.
Right.
She brings him up in front of everybody.
That
point,
scene was nuts.
Right? So I would have walked away.
Yeah.
Like he was doing good. Like that was actually like a good character moment for him.
Yeah.
And then so after that, it was just kind of like, all right, what are you doing?
Right. Why do we keep punishing him? He's already said he was sorry. Even if he didn't mean it, he made the gesture to get up in front of everyone and sort of be shamed, which was stupid.
Yeah, that was like a public shaming, all for the sake of his son.
Yeah. It's funny because in the beginning, I was totally Team Jack.
Yeah, no,
I was totally Team Jack, but then as the story progressed, I'm like, okay, this is a little too much now. And I guess that's part of, marriages. You have to compromise and sacrifice, and not every day is going to be a bed of roses, but it was just... It became too much because I felt like while I agreed with her, he was a little too angry. It also felt like she didn't want to put herself in his shoes, and that's definitely part of the marriage process where you have to.
Stubborn.
They were both stubborn, right? Because she was ready to kick him out of the house.
Yeah, no, she was like infuriated
because he couldn't pretzel himself to be the guy that she wanted him to be. And I don't know if we've had this conversation, but I always try to talk to you girls very truthfully from my own experiences. And I feel like I've said this before. You don't change people. You sort of have to accept them for who they are. And if this isn't what you want, then I don't understand why she got married to this guy. Yeah. She knew what she was getting into. I think I might have said this while we were watching it. She knew what she was getting into, and yet she still decided to marry this guy. He's a grown-ass man who's probably 20 years older than her.
Probably.
What did she think was going to happen?
I don't know. I feel like with such big age gaps, it's kind of hard to feel equal with the other person.
Yeah. Do you think in their relationship, just from watching the film, Olivia, do you think that Jack had the upper hand or Leia had the upper hand in that relationship?
Nobody.
What makes you say that? That's interesting.
It's really about who wears the pants in the relationship, not about how old you are.
Okay, fair enough. That's actually a good observation. Who do you think wears the pants in that house?
I have no idea.
All right, that's fair.
It's kind of like they're fighting over the pair of pants.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Kind of. Because it's funny because at the end, she was so focused on getting that child into a private school.
Yeah.
With that stupid principal's letter of recommendation. But then at the end, she obsequiates and she lets the child go to public school, which is fine because it implied like they found their people, right? They weren't with a bunch of pretentious people. They were like with people just like them in the public school system.
Yeah, so all of it kind of like
For nothing.
nothing at all.
Did you have a favorite character, Olive J?
No.
No? Really?
None of them were really likable.
What did you think of Kara,
Who's Kara again?
Connor's wife? The one with the
evil
monster son.
Oh, Kara was, oh my God.
Yeah.
She was
She's like
awful.
one of the boy moms who's like obsessed with her son.
Yeah, like
and her son didn't do anything bad. And she was standing there when he hits Leia's pregnant belly.
Oh my God, I don't care if his mom was, if that was me, I would have beat the crap out of her.
serious.
She's lucky. She's lucky that Leia didn't lay a hand on that child because she could have.
Yeah, she really should have.
Yeah, she should have kicked that kid.
At least.
Serious.
I
And
would've
also like
punched
the
that
thing
kid.
with the stick, like he hit that kid with a stick.
Yeah,
Oh
he
my
hit Nate.
God.
He was
Kid.
hitting Nate with the stick.
And then Connor is actually being a good parent. He throws
And he's
the
trying
stick
to
away.
discipline him.
And
Yeah.
then Kara comes back and she's like, "It's natural what you're feeling. Now Connor, give him the stick back." Like, no, that's
No.
not what you do.
And then he literally throws the stick and almost injures like the two
The
ladies.
pregnant lady, right?
Yeah.
When Brittany were sitting in the corner.
Yeah, Brittany and the other one.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No. She was a terrible parent. Because I feel like that.
I don't even understand why they didn't have a divorce.
I don't know either. I
Like,
mean,
why did he divorce her?
Connor seemed fun. I didn't understand why he was married to Kara.
No, yeah, me neither.
He was like my favorite of the three.
Yeah, he was the least dislikable.
He was the least dislikable. Something else that they sort of address in the movie, and I think Bill Burr talks about it a lot, is just how our relationship to each other and also to social media. I want to talk about that scene in the car when they're going to meet Ed Cameron in the desert.
Oh, that.
So a lot of inappropriate things were said in the car. And unfortunately, it was recorded. And that's why they all lost their jobs. So speaking to that section of the film, what did you guys think of that? Olive, I'm going to start with you. What did you think of the idea of not having privacy and being recorded in a space that you thought was safe and private to have a conversation?
I thought it was kind of weird, but like I wasn't like too upset by it because maybe for like insurance, I guess, like in case like they crashed the car or something. But like the thing that really like disturbed me was how they had like cameras in that guy's house.
And that guy in Travis's apartment.
Yes, like how did they put them in there? Like that's his house.
I don't know,
Maybe
but I think he
set them
said.
up for security, but they're able to just like.
But
steal that.
I forgot what Aspen said. I guess it was part of his.
Like your image, or not image, but like
They were just stealing information, selling it to each other.
Thank you for mentioning that. So that's part of the world we live in now. Data is collected, whether you want it to be or not, and it's kind of shared through companies and through different sectors. I could sign a list about being against pollution of the environment, but somehow somebody that wants to sell me health insurance is going to get my name and number and contact me. So what do you guys think about this lack of privacy, Olive?
I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like,
But this is the world that we live in now. Data, that kind of data, your personal information, your spending habits, your consumption habits, all of this is tracked and analyzed, and then you're targeted with certain ads. So like if I'm looking at ant spray, all of a sudden I'll open up a browser and there'll be like 5 commercials about ant spray products. That's not a coincidence. That's intentional. So what do you think about that in the world? Does it bother you? Do you not care?
I just think it's weird.
You just think it's weird. What about you, Gigi? How do you feel about not having privacy?
Part of life.
This is the world that you're growing up in.
Yep.
So it doesn't bother you. That's interesting. I, having grown up on the other side of that, find it very intrusive, but I can understand why you kids don't put as much significance on it. Okay. So moving along. So what do we think ultimately about this film? I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. I'm going to start with myself. It was okay. It wasn't the best thing I ever saw. It wasn't the worst thing I ever saw. Some of the jokes landed. Some of the jokes didn't. Some of it seemed a little too much. On the whole, I'm going to give this film a 6. Jake.
I agree. I'll also give it a 6.
Olive J.
Like 5.5.
5.5. So 5.5, 6. If you've got nothing to do, if you want some background noise, if you like Bill Burr, I guess check this out. It's a little too much. I think if it had been maybe shortened down, maybe not so many characters, maybe if it was a little bit more focused instead of so spread out, it might have been a better story. But I think the kernel of the idea was interesting. I think that he was trying to make a point. This is something that Burr's addressed in a lot of his comedy in the last few years, but I think here it was just too much. It was just a little too much. All right, so again, not the best, not the worst. If you're a fan of Bill Burr and his comedy, definitely check it out. Otherwise, Paddington 2 is playing somewhere.
Yep.
And that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
Good night.
good night.